Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
From the tackle, take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, you drive down the first man to his inside. Pull back and tell him to take the first man outside the offensive tackle. No one shows. Go right by them and field inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. So look at this play. What we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. I'm joined alongside Jacob from the Packernet Fantasy Podcast. We got Tim live in Green Bay. Jacob, how was your day, bub?
It was a good day. It was a rough day, but it's a day that exists after a Packers win, so it's a good day. It's a good day.
There you go. Tim, how was yours up there, man? What's the weather like in Green Bay?
Little chipper. It's good days up here too. Little chipper in Green Bay, but beautiful nonetheless. It's fall. Fall is here right away. Not a surprise.
You got any leaves turning yet?
They're falling. I don't see too much color up by us just yet, but they're starting to fall a little.
Gotcha.
Crazy.
There's nothing better than the fall, dude. Nothing better. All right, let's go to the chat real quick. We got everybody in the house here, man. Zane Strong. We got United Bates, Grooney. I don't think I've seen Grooney in here before. I don't believe. We got Minot. We got Daniel in the chat. Said Jacob's playing me this week in the Superflex. He's going down this week.
Yo, I lost.
Get used to it.
Roadhouse.
Of course, the only league that I lose in out of all my leagues is the one that I promoted, the Extreme League, and I lost. I think I lost by like 12 points. It wasn't great, but of course that's how it happens.
Definitely. We got them arguing over here in the chat for the first like. Daniel said he got the first like. Minot said, not so fast, my friend. I got it 10 minutes ago. Daniel says, damn. Let's see here. We got SoPro in the house. We got Doug, member of the PTA Posse. Elevated Shine in the house, member of the PTA Posse. Greetings, fellas, from Shaw. Fall is the best season. You're exactly correct, United Bates. And then, of course, Cheesehead Murph. We got, Cheesehead Murph and Sutherland. They're the two founding members of the PTA Posse. They're like the president and vice president, right? Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, yeah. Cheesehead Murph gets right to the real stuff here. He says, well, guess we aren't 65ers. I'm hurt that Aaron got hurt. Well, I'll tell you this, guys. People have already been asking me, well, I guess we can't play that soundbite anymore, right? Wrong.
65%.
65%. That's what we get used to it, boys. I make the rules around here, and we're playing it all year long. It's going to happen. All right. And even when it doesn't even apply, we're going to be playing it. So, all right, let's get right into the show. And we got a little bit of news, gang. And obviously the big headline today is Aaron Rodgers' injury, right? We talked about it a little bit last night. We kind of were on the air as it happened in real time. And it has been confirmed that he tore his Achilles, so he is out for the year. Obviously, that means that we're going to have a second-round pick in that trade. And I don't want to come across as insensitive or anything and just say, oh, it's just about the trade compensation. I hate it for Aaron. I really do. I got to be real with you guys. When I seen him run out of the tunnel with that American flag on 9/11, fired me up. It was just like, that is a cool moment, right? And here's the reason it's a cool moment for me, even as a Packers fan. Guys, we made our decision. I'm in the camp that we were the one who made the decision that we do not want Aaron Rodgers anymore. I think that happened this offseason. I think Goody's comments were straight freaking forward. He did all the exit interviews, him and Matt, and it sounded like the team, the majority of the team, felt like they needed to move forward without Aaron Rodgers because Goody basically said that. He got input, right? So there's no hard feelings I have towards Aaron. There's no hard feelings I have towards Goody. I'm not one of these guys that's going to follow Aaron to the Jets, but I just hate to see it happen because you could tell he spent a lot of time this offseason getting in shape and getting to the point where he was wanting to go out there and prove a lot of people wrong. But it just sucks, man, all the way around. It sucks for football too. You know, even when Favre went to the Jets and went to the Vikings, it was good for football. I'm telling you, if you guys get a chance, even though he beat us, go back and watch that first time that we played Favre when he was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Bro, it sounded like the Roman Coliseum in there. It was so intense. That's great for football, right? So, again, it just sucks for Aaron. And I understand people that hold a grudge against him. I'm not here to tell anybody how to fan. That's just how I feel, right? But, again, it's a second-round pick. And like most people said, we do pretty good in the second round, don't we, Tim?
And the third round, and the fourth round, and the fifth round.
Third's a little shaky, right?
and UDFAs, right, on occasion.
Hey, trade all the picks, man. Just sign a bunch of undrafted free agents. Love it. Look at this. We got a new one in the house. Gurney says, first timer, usually listen the day after on Spotify. Good stuff, man. Well, welcome to the live stream. We appreciate you hanging out with us, man, for sure.
Can I ask something that I know is going to probably be controversial?
Yeah, let's hear it, man. We already got a hot take.
It's I wrote this down in my notes today, and this is not me trying to say that I don't respect Rodgers, that I don't respect Adams, that I don't respect Love. It's just all that on the table there. Do you think, as both of these men who I'm about to mention sit there tonight as they look at what their prospects are for the next NFL future, do you think that Davante Adams and that Aaron Rodgers are happy with the decisions that they've made the last 2 years?
Ooh, I like this. This is not in the show notes here, Jacob. It's not in the show notes. I love it, though. I love it.
Again, you guys, if you come at me in the comments, just stop. I'm not trying to say that this is right, this is wrong. I'm simply proposing the question. If you put your mind in these men's minds, do you think, because look at what let's break this down a little bit. Davante Adams, he was promised he's going to go back to his hometown, play with his freaking college quarterback. That's not happening anymore.
Nope.
Look at Aaron Rodgers, he was promised he's going to go over there and play with his boys from Green Bay. It's not happening anymore. Do you think that both of these men in their minds think I made the right decision? And regardless of whether or not the Packers organization did them dirty or didn't, do you think there's a little bit in their back of their minds that says, I was really happy here, and now the grass looked greener over on the other side, and now it looks pretty freaking dead and gray? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, and I think the proper way to ask that question, Tim, is if they could go back in time, right, and change it all, what would their decision be?
Right. Exactly. Yep.
And again, it all began with the Last Dance social media post because the Packers, kind of lowballed Tay. Given that situation being the same, I don't know if Tay would do anything different, but maybe handle the negotiation a little bit different. And I'm not saying he's at fault. I'm not saying the Packers are at fault. It's a business, man. The Packers want you as cheap as possible. And as a player, you want to make as much money as possible, right? And feelings get hurt along the way. But I think that's a great question. Tim, how do you feel about that, man? What comes to mind as you heard Jacob kind of ask that question or say that comment?
I think what you just said really came to mind right away with Tay was, I think he would have stayed. I think he felt a little insulted. You insulted him a little bit. You insulted him, and I think that just rubbed him the wrong way. And then Derek Carr's my homie. I love Vegas. I'm gonna go out there. It doesn't hurt to be a Raider. I'm not the first guy that left Green Bay to go play for the Raiders. So I don't think Tay necessarily would have done anything differently. And to be honest with you, I don't think Aaron would either. And just a gut reaction off of all this, I don't think, number one, it's too early to even ask this question, but I'm going to go ahead and assume right away that Rodgers fully intends to rehab and try and come back next year. So I don't know. Given how things have panned out, I guess maybe more of an argument to Jacob's point would be maybe Davante. I guess, like you were saying, Clayton, like maybe if the negotiations went a little differently, maybe Tay would still be a Packer. But I think the relationship with Aaron and the Packers had just run its course, and that was going to kind of happen. I think he'd probably stand behind that decision.
Yeah, and that stuff happens all the time. Like, you know what I mean? In all sports, all professional sports, sometimes it's just time to say goodbye. All good things must come to an end, right? It's just the way it is. Let's see. We got Josh Martin in the super chat, and then we'll get back to this this right here. Josh Martin says, did you hear the Bills owner said racist remarks to a black reporter on a 40-person Zoom call in 2020? NFL needs to investigate this. I haven't heard that yet. When you say the Bills owner in 2020, I'm not very familiar with the Bills ownership. I know they had recently sold the team to I think 2 different partners. Obviously it was Ralph Wilson some time ago, but he looked like he was 123 years old when he owned the team. Probably didn't even know he owned the team, to be honest with you. But I did not hear that. But I tell you what, man, nowadays though, the stupid stuff that people say in public settings, and it's like, especially when you get a little bit of money, you think, oh, well, I can say whatever I want to say. Everybody's free to say whatever you want to say, right? That's America. But there are consequences that come with what you say. So you're also free to absorb those consequences, right? But we try to keep the whole racist thing out of here, But I definitely appreciate the super chat, and I haven't heard that yet. I'm sure I will be hearing about it, though. So many different things in the past, whether it's sports or business or whatever, where people have lost their business or had to sell their business or do, who was it? The Clippers owner, several years back. Things like that just seem to happen and surface, but that sucks, man. I'm just still blown away that in 2023 race is still a thing. That's why you'll hear me joke. Like I love the Dave Chappelle approach. That's just me, and if that offends people, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to change the way I think. I loved how Dave Chappelle approached it, and he said there was no race off limits. I'm making fun of everybody. And you seen the crowd. It was white. It was black. It was blue. It was green. There was people and everybody laughing together. That's what brought people together. I love that. I absolutely love that. I hate division. And just the thought that someone would look down on someone just because they look different than them, or maybe they grew up a little rougher than them, or, maybe they didn't have a more stable household or less income. That stuff just pisses me off, man. I really just, there's no place for it in my life, to be honest with you, man. I say it all the time. I've met far more white people that I don't like than black people, right? I'm down here in Redneckville, USA, and it's just something I hate to even think about race, to be honest with you, man. It drives me crazy. So anyway, but thank you for the chat there, or thank you for the super chat, Josh. We appreciate you supporting the stream, buddy. I'm sure, like I said, that'll be surfacing here soon. We got another super chat. This is from United Bates. He says, Musgrave, Reed, Watson, Dillon, Jenkins, Adams, Cobb, Nelson, Jennings, second rounders. Wow, I'm going to read that one more time. Luke Musgrave, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, A.J. Dillon, Elton Jenkins, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, second rounders. Of course, it's a, quote, a step back, but it's still a value pick. Glass half full, go Pack, go. Very well said, man. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration. Significantly less income too, like significantly less cap hit, I should say. And that, you tally up those. I'm a trade back fan, and I try not to even talk during draft season because I know that pisses fans off, but I'm like trade back, because I feel like there is talent to be had there in the first 3 rounds. Now, I understand people are skittish with the 3rd round. I completely get that for sure. Let's see here. Yeah. Well, B the Hammer says racism.
Yes.
Yeah. He says racism is a political weapon. It barely exists in the real world. I love that you said barely, because you're acknowledging that it does exist. I'm not here to say at what percentage, at what level it exists, especially, me being, I'm a mutt, first of all, I'm Hungarian, I'm Irish, I'm part Cherokee. Dude, my favorite team growing up was the Washington Redskins. You know why? Because my family loved it. They were like, man, that's our people, right? Like, we didn't look at that as like, oh, they're putting us down, But anyway, yeah, you're exactly right about the political weapon. It's disgusting just how to see rich people that we will never meet in our life. We allow them to divide us as a country. Just blows my freaking mind. And I've been guilty of it too. So I'm not sitting there saying, people wisen up, we've all been there for sure. But anyway. All right. There was a couple of chats up here I wanted to get to real quick. And thank you guys for the super chat. Thank you so much, United Bates. Well, let's hit on that real quick. I'm sorry. I kind of skimmed over that. United Bates. Jacob, you were giggling, right? Musgrave, that's some stuff, right?
Yeah, I can't stop. Eric Sutherland's going to get me canceled. But I'm looking at United Bates' chat here. Musgrave, Reed, Watson, Dillon, Jenkins, Adams, Cobb, Nelson, Jennings, second rounders, of course. And now everybody's freaking out about the fact, my family included, I'm in a group chat with a bunch of my family members, and they said, well, Aaron Rodgers, done for the season. That's so bad for the Packers. I said it's horrible for him. And again, I'm a guy that's been very critical of Aaron Rodgers in his career. I have a poster of the man on my wall. Okay, I respect him for what he did. I'm a 36-year-old man who has a poster of a man on his wall. Okay,
What a weirdo.
to say that I don't respect him, to say that I don't respect, like, Packer fans need to, we need to cool on that. But I will say that I just our second rounder, I'm not worried about the fact that we only get I want to back up, only a second rounder.
Right.
Guys, we traded a guy again that I respect and I admire and that I freaking love, and he's done so much for myself, my family, my community. At the same time, he played 5 snaps. We got a second round pick for a guy that played 5 snaps. I'm just saying that's a good deal if you're making deals. Obviously we would have loved to have 2 first rounders. But right now we need to take a step back, realize that we have an amazing base to this new team. And we can talk about some of the stuff here coming up. We have guys that are so young and so uniquely talented and showing that they're going to be something very special. I mean, gosh, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Jordan Love is one of the highest passer rated quarterbacks in the league right now. I think that we have one of the highest pass rush defenses in the league. I mean, they're absolutely insane right now. So optimism is high for me. I don't think that we need to be at all negative right now. And like you said, man, that second round, we do pretty good there. We do pretty good. I'm not mad. I'm not even. Let's go.
I'm with United Bates. Thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate it for sure, man. Yeah, Eric's out of control in the chat, and what sucks is everybody else is agging it on.
I know, they all love him. They all love him.
And I just called him either the president or vice president, the co-president, right? Him and Murph of the PTA posse. He in there stirring up trouble. Boy, he's with the right group. I'll tell you what. All right, so obviously Aaron Rodgers, like I said, we covered that. Yosh Nijman, here's some other news, Tim. Yosh Nijman restructures his contract. Basically, they tacked on 4 voidable years. He signed that tender. I think it's somewhere a little over $4 million. And what they did was put 4 years of void years onto that contract. I don't think it's huge news, but it immediately, what it sparked in my mind is, okay, why would you do that right now? Okay. It's one of 2 reasons. You can kind of put structure in place for a long-term deal, right? And be ready to already have those 4 years in place. That doesn't make much sense to me. They're looking to save money right now. And the new cap hit hasn't hit yet. I imagine it's a little over $1 million, which means they would have freed up $3 million right away. So why do they need that $3 million right now? Right? Maybe a little bit of cushion. Yeah, that's bingo. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Tim. Is that what crossed your mind too? Maybe they're getting close on a restructure.
I hope so. I mean, or they just really didn't like Austin Allen. I don't know. And let's restructure Yosh, get rid of Austin Allen, get another offensive lineman in here. Get some stability, clean up the pocketbook a little bit, and then get ready to sign Rashawn. Or extend Rashawn. I don't know. I'm just looking at the collective of all these moves that we've seen recently, but that was my first gut. Totally is Rashawn Gary extension incoming.
Same here, man. And another thing that broke today, the Packers released tight end Austin Allen, and they signed offensive lineman Michael Jordan to the practice squad. Now, this is different Michael Jordan, okay? You don't think we're getting a superstar here. This is, although he did have several, I can't remember, was it like 50-some starts or something? There was some crazy stat that I seen, but
I thought he played some snaps in Carolina. Yeah.
What do you think of Austin Allen getting cut, Jacob? You hurt by that, or like you said in the chat, it means they think pretty high of Sims, right?
Yeah, I said that. Yeah, I sent you a message saying that. To me, that's what that. If I read between the lines there, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And if I'm not mistaken, gosh, I don't have it in front of me. I could probably pull it up. But if Clayton, if you got a chance, Sims got plays. He got snaps.
Did he really?
Which shows me that I believe that he was in on one of the longer plays that we had last. Yeah, like I said, pull that up and tell me if I'm crazy, but I believe that that's true. And that to me shows just the fact that, like, I was kind of surprised they released Austin Allen. The guy's isn't he like 6'8"? Just a freak of nature. So if they thought that they could control him, or not control him, but mold him into being the type of tight end that they wanted to have, and specifically probably because I hate to admit it, we need to replace Tyler Davis at that tight end position, and we have the freaks. Like we saw Musgrave, dude. The guy is he's exactly what we thought. The only thing that I have against Musgrave is like, bro, can you? He's like a baby deer. It's like, can you just stand up? He's like a giraffe trying to catch a pass out there. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
come on.
Hey, do me a favor. If you hear me glitch out, let me know because I've got more windows open than a trailer park right now, bro. And this is a good test, all right? But I've got it pulled up. Yeah, he had Ben Sims, tight end, had 9 snaps, and it looked like 8 of them were run blocking snaps. 1 was pass blocking. So he was just strictly a blocker. And his pass blocking grade was 69.6, which you pointed out when they signed him that was his strength, right? And then his run blocking grade was a 54.8. But still, that's surprising. He got 9 snaps, man. I didn't notice that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, that's what I was going to say is that they trusted him that much to throw him into the mix, and maybe those rush grades or those grades will improve because of the fact they felt so confident in that. Did you see Godspecs AR69, the super chat there?
Not yet. I'm on Mike Hebrings right now. I'm going to read it right now. Mike Hebring, thank you for the super chat. He said, "Did you guys get a chance to see JT O'Sullivan's quarterback school review today of the Bears offense? You have to check it out. Just brutal for Fields." Did you watch it, Jacob? Did you see it all?
I watched the first half of it before I had to hop on here.
What stuck out to you?
Oh my God. Just fundamentally
burning dumpster.
He's a dumpster fire. He is a dumpster fire. I'm just saying, and I said this before we went on live the other day. I'm not afraid of Justin Fields unless we can't harness his running ability. The guy's not a quarterback. I'm sorry. Like he's not. And I just, whatever. I hope the Bears sign him to a 5-year deal. I hope they do. Yeah. I'd love Jay Cutler 2.0.
Yeah, Tim, I haven't got a chance to watch that video from JT O'Sullivan yet, but I know when I went back and watched the tape myself, I did make 3 passes through the tape. And I'll tell you what, the all-22, when Quay picks him off, you could tell that Justin looked, he immediately looked right and read cover 4. He comes back left, and I think he gets antsy because when he comes back left, he realizes, oh, crap, that's cover 2, which means it's cover 6. And I'm thinking in his mind, middle should be open. Let me come back right. And when he did, Quay kind of did a little jab step opposite direction, broke on the ball, picked it off. Because if Quay wasn't in on that play, I think the ball gets by Devondre Campbell and it's a completion. I just think he was expecting Quay when he looked over and seen 2. He expected Quay to drift a little further to that side. And Quay did a great job baiting him. But I don't know if you've watched that video yet or not, Tim. But regardless, having slept on a little bit, what did you think of Justin Fields? Were you impressed at all?
No, never have been, never will be. No. And I didn't get to see the O'Sullivan video, but just as you so eloquently broke it down, I would agree that it just reinforces what we said. He's not a good quarterback. I mean, everything you just talked about there in that little mini breakdown has nothing to do with his arm. It has nothing to do with his legs. It has everything to do with his football IQ behind the line of scrimmage, being the quarterback. So, I'm not impressed. I don't think I ever will be.
Yeah, I don't either, man. If it hasn't clicked by now, it's not going to click, right? And it was he doesn't have anything around him. And then it's amazing how the Bears fans are already starting to retract a little bit and go, well, he still doesn't have anything around him. Hold up a minute, guys. You spent the whole offseason saying they fixed the offensive line and they signed DJ Moore, a number 1 wide receiver. What are you talking about, right? Oh, and you got Bob Tunyon that you guys thought was going to be an absolute superstar all of a sudden. He sucked when he was with us, according to you. You sign him, all of a sudden he's better, right? But anyway, Mike Hebring, thank you so much for that super chat, buddy. Let's go to the next one. It's Godsmack. AR69 said, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He said, I feel really bad for Rodgers. Luckily, I'm not one of those, quote, Packers fans who has Rodgers derangement syndrome. He did so much for this team and Green Bay community. I'm praying for Rodgers. Dude, I couldn't agree more. And the thing is, too, like, as fans, we take it, I say we, but I say that loosely. Not every fan feels like this, but fans tend to take it way more serious than the players do, right? It's kind of a fraternity with the players, right? Yes, they're competing against each other. I know some of the old school players don't like that, and I understand why. But when it comes to the players themselves, though, they kind of look at each other as almost like coworkers, right? And I don't know, man. With Favre, when he left, the fans took it very personal, right? But if you heard him talk about Green Bay, the community, the fans, I mean, he got emotional talking about it. Like how he said, I grew up there. I think he said he spent, what was it, 18 years. He said a full adult life, right? Becoming from 0 years old to becoming an adult at 18 years old. He spent that amount of time basically in Green Bay. He got to grow up there, and he talked about going to the Piggly Wiggly and the people in the community and how much he's got nothing but love and appreciation for Packer fans. And dude, it was hard for me last year, Godsmack. I'm just being honest. Jacob can attest to this. Seeing people bash him and turn on him that quick. And Jacob was one that was like, I want to see what we got in love. I'm done with Aaron, right? And it wasn't from a I hate Aaron standpoint. Like you said, he's creepy and got a picture on the wall, right? But like I was sitting back going, is this how we do it? Like when we're done with him, it's just, and Jacob wasn't like this, but other people were just like, are you trying to get him out of there? It was just like, this dude, like, it's obvious this team isn't that good this year, right? And the reason being was injuries. And it was just like they turned on him quick, man. Not all of them. I'm not trying to put and if you're one that didn't even want Rodgers to be on a team last year, I respect your opinion, man. And hey, based on the record, you're proven right. It's a result driven business. There's no doubt about it. But I was one. I mean, you basically explained exactly how I feel, Godsmack. I'm praying for him too, man. And it just sucks because you could just tell he put everything into it this year, and he was looking to go out there and perform. And Lord knows that if there's one thing I was focused on, I was hoping he would get that
65%.
65%. That's what we need to redo that video with Mark Murphy with a sad face now, right? Since we're not getting the 65%.
I was just gonna say, man, like you talked about with the guys that, I did see a lot of Rodgers absolute hate on Twitter and all that, and I try to stay off social media because I'm you light the match, I'll start the fire kind of thing. So I don't want to do that. But what I'll say is that you guys can see I've got a wall around me of Packers, old Packers, current Packers. I've got a wall that you can't see that has. I'm gonna freaking try not to get emotional. I got a wall full of like 5 or 6 family members that have died in the last like 4 or 5 years. And 2 of them in their obituary have the Green Bay Packers emblem in the bottom corner. And it's like, to think that those moments were tarnished by, because Rodgers did something wrong or whatever. No. It wasn't that way. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I got you. I understand. Tim, what do you think of Godsmack's comment there, bud, before we move on?
Oh, I'm with both of you guys on this. I've always said that you can love Jordan Love and still love Aaron Rodgers and vice versa. And I think Jacob put it very clearly. I mean, football means a little bit more here in Green Bay, and we do honor our legends here in Green Bay. And any fan that laughed or is finding any kind of joy in what is going on with Aaron Rodgers right now makes me sick to my stomach. And I'm not going to tell people how to fan. I'm just like you, Clayton. I don't care. I don't care how you fan. But if you're going to fan like that around me, we're probably going to butt heads. And I'll just leave it at that. But as far as Aaron Rodgers, my wife had a great comment a few months ago. She kind of felt like it would have been nice for him to just hang it up and retire a Packer. So she was definitely in that camp of, after we were at the Detroit game last year, we saw his last game in green and gold, and him and Randy walking into the tunnel. That was tough pill to swallow last season. And not any way you want to end your career. But certainly hindsight's 2020, that might have been a more fitting end to his career than hopefully this situation, which, like I said earlier, I think if anyone is going to come back from this at 39 years old or whatever, pushing 40, it's Aaron Rodgers. So if he wants to play, the guy's going to push through, and he's going to come back next year. I think if you asked him that right now, that'd probably be his immediate response, but I'm not going to speak for the guy. But yeah. I agree with both of you guys. That guy's a Packer, man, and you can't just undo everything that man did for us as a team, as a town, and as fans. So
yeah,
much respect to AR-12.
And there's going to be a day in the near future he walks back out of that tunnel like this, right? And we hang that banner and we hang that number up there, man. That's going to be exciting. It is. But I'm kind of with you. If you were to have to say, hey, you got to bet the farm one way or the other, is he coming back? Is he not? I think he's coming back. I think he feels like he owes the Jets something now because they did, man. That's who you kind of got to feel bad for, man. We always talk about how many times have we heard our Packer fans talk about we never go all in. We need to go all in. The Jets went all in, right? And I'm sorry, I respect them for it. I'm just being real. Like they said, hey, look, we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna go get that one piece that we think we need to go with this defense. And I think every fan kind of wants that. There's different ways to get there, and I think we would all agree we love and appreciate a little bit more the way Goody's trying to get there, right? But yeah, I just it's tough all the way around, but I think that's well said there, guys, Mac, for sure. Let's go to the next super chat. We got Josh Martin says, did Jones, Watson, Reed practice today? I have looked everywhere, Josh, for information, and I can't find anything. So I don't know if there was a practice today. If there was, I don't know if they did practice. I've combed through all the insiders that cover the Packers. I know we'll have Paul Brettel on Thursday, and we'll definitely get the most detailed update that we can with him being, in and around with the media group. But, yeah, I have no idea right now. I will say this, though. Christian Watson did say, I think Matt Schneidman shared this in an article on The Athletic. He said Christian Watson said injured reserve was never a possibility. And he said, quote, he has a better chance this week. So he's basically saying, obviously, I think he said, obviously, there's a better chance I play this week than last week. So if never was an option, right? Then that means, okay, they're thinking 4 weeks or less, okay? And then, of course, he's saying he might be closer this week. I think there's a chance he plays against Atlanta if you want him to play. And we're going to break down some Atlanta Falcons here in a minute and kind of talk about what I've seen on the tape. I made my first pass through that Panthers-Falcons game earlier today with the All-22, and it was pretty good stuff. But, Josh, thank you so much for the super chat. I wish I had an answer for you, bub, but I haven't heard anything yet. Let's see here. Let's go to Ian with the super chat. He says, Packers trading Adams, meaning Devontae Adams, for Quay Walker and Watson. Rodgers for Van Ness, Reed, Wicks, and a future second-round pick. Goody is playing chess.
Yeah, buddy.
Good point. Yeah. I mean, it's they definitely maximized what they got out of those trades. There's no doubt about it. Quay's looking like a superstar, guys. Now, it's one game. I got it. Last year, he graded out really low. But you could see the flash, you could see the violence, you could see his tackling ability, obviously, with all the tackles that he made last year. But this year, what you're seeing through the preseason, you're seeing high PFF grades. That game, I'm telling you, he played absolutely flawless in that game against the Bears, and he played with attitude. I think he's a real deal. I think we got us the linebacker of the future, and like Tim pointed out, I think on the postgame show, Quay out there wearing the green dot was really cool. He wore the green dot, not Devondre Campbell. I mean, that really, really says a lot. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, Ian, very well said, man. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel, bub. All right, let's do this. Let's move on to we're going to move on to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to kind of give you guys an idea and share some information that I came up with from watching the Atlanta Falcons. But before I do, I just want to say that today's episode is brought to you by Old Southern Barbecue. All right, Old Southern Barbecue has 5 locations. It's Old Southern Barbecue Smokehouse in Rice Lake, Hudson, Arden Hills, Minneapolis, and Shakopee. Guys, they do everything from, they've got obviously sit-down restaurants. If you're in those areas, look them up. Fire up the old Google machine, see where they're located, and go get some great barbecue. And then, of course, if you're having a Packers party, you're looking to have friends over, whatever, you want to throw a party together, they also do catering. You can go to their website and check out their catering menu. They've got, brisket, ribs, several sides. They're notorious for their cornbread muffins, from what I hear, and just absolutely phenomenal stuff there. It's a great way to have your parties catered. Now, also, if you're at a distance like me, you can go check out their website, oldsouthernbbq.com, and they've got everything from sauces to rubs that you can get there. They've got awesome packages as well. 4 sauces, Southern Gals, sweet brown sugar. You've got Dixie Red, rich and smoky, Chicago Blue, mild and tangy, and Chicago Fire, which is obviously got a kick. And I'll tell you, the Southern Gals, me, I'm kind of a combo guy. I'm either wanting the sweet and tangy or I'm wanting the extremely hot. So they got you covered all the way around. Now, obviously, if you guys go to the website, you want to make a purchase there at oldsouthernbbq.com, make sure you type in the promo code PackerNet15. That's capital P, Packer, capital N, Net no spaces. Make sure the P and the N is capitalized. That'll get you 15% off your purchase. Again, that's Old Southern Barbecue Smokehouse, www.oldsouthernbbq.com. Make sure you check them out. We appreciate them supporting the channel, supporting Packernet podcast for sure. All right, let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons. Do you guys have any kind of preconceived notions, Jake, going into this game? Is there anything that's kind of sticking out to you before I dive into a ton of information? What sticks out to you about the Atlanta Falcons? Have you got a chance to look into it at all? How do you feel about the Falcons as we get ready to enter this game at the I think it's a noon Central kickoff, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, yes, sir. This is not the old Falcons team that people thought. Almost similar to us, people were sleeping on the Falcons. They thought, well, we've got a young quarterback, and they got nothing to show for it. He's very raw. They got a decent O-line. They got an okay defense. They have 2 great running backs. Does that sound like anybody you've heard of? They also have a rookie or a new tight end, and they also have a couple great wide receivers. Sound like anybody you've heard of? So I don't know, man. When people looked at, thank you, United Bates, and thank you for all the other guys talking about the old Southern stuff in the comments. I appreciate that. But when you look at what these guys are doing here, people are thinking that I think they were sleeping on the Falcons. I really do. Bijan Robinson is a freak, guys. He's a freak. And it's so weird to me that they went and spent another draft pick when the freaking Falcons, the year before, they drafted Tyler Algier, who's a freak. The guy,
great running back. Great
1,000-yard rusher last year, if I'm not mistaken. And then they decided, all right, well, I want 2 Barry Sanders type people. And then they have obviously Kyle Pitts. They've got Drake London. They've got a guy that at quarterback that, Ritter, people are sleeping on. He's a very mobile quarterback. He can throw the ball. I'm not sure if he's going to be ready for the NFL starting right now, this soon. But what I am confident in is that our pass rush, they're going to get there, bro. I mean, our pass rush, I don't think that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I think Ryan covered it earlier on his podcast that we had like 5 to 6 guys that had over 18 per 50. I want to say 15 because anything over 10 is amazing. We had 5 or 6 over like at least 13, and I'm shooting that real short. I think that we had the highest pass rush grade total for any defensive line, and that's just, to me, oh my God, I don't know about you, but I'm excited.
Fires me up, dude.
Took it down.
That's with Rashawn Gary playing 12 snaps.
Yeah, right. That's so exciting, dude. So, and Lucas Van Ness, when they came out in that opening drive and I seen Van Ness, I went, look at this. Look at the big fella out there in Gary's spot too, right? Playing that left side. It was absolutely awesome. Tim, before I dig into some info, man, anything stick out to you on the surface about the Falcons game coming up?
It's on turf, and turf sucks.
Bach talked about that today.
Got that right. Bach going all in on
we already got hammies galore. So, and not to go back to the Aaron Rodgers thing, but clearly, like, Bach had a point, man, that you can watch that replay, man. His foot got hung up on that crappy ass artificial surface, and it just is what it is. So that comes into my mind right away, looking at the Dirty Birds down in Atlanta. I think that it's going to be, like I said last night, guys, I think it's going to be a closer than comfortable game. Jacob made some really good points about the similarities between these two teams. So I think it'll be interesting as we break things down further heading into the weekend. But my first thought is it's in the dome. It's on turf. Stay healthy, guys. Don't be alarmed at the veteran rest for guys like David Bakhtiari going into this game. So I think we'll be ready to roll on Sunday.
Got it. All right, I'm going to share the screen here. This may be hard for you guys to see. Just bear with me. I'm going to click on a few players so it should highlight their card, and I'm going to try to read off kind of what I've seen here. So the first thing we're going to start with is their base defense and our 12 personnel, okay? And when you look at the matchup, first of all, this big stinky egg right here, Josh Myers right in the middle, 44.0. Ugh. I'm telling you guys, it's about time to pull the plug. We're to that point now. When they ran that mid-screen, and he literally was the reason that Aaron Jones couldn't catch. I'm literally screaming on TV, what are you doing? Like, if you're not going to block, get out of the way. You know what the play – well, maybe you don't know what the play call is. But anyway, That drove me absolutely insane. But let's focus on the Falcons defense here. And their 34 base, what I want you to look at is at right end, 89.8. That's David Onyemata, okay? I believe he had 2 sacks, I think, if I remember correctly in this game. Absolute stud at interior defensive line, okay? At nose tackle, Grady Jarrett, right? 82.2. So they've got 2 studs on the defensive line, not so much there on the left end with Calais Campbell. Of course, he's a little bit longer in the tooth. 5 years ago, he was a stud. Right now, not playing like it, but again, it's just one game. Again, that 34 base though, looking stout. Now, at left outside linebacker, typically it's going to be on our strong side when our tight ends to the right. They have Lorenzo Carter at a 72.8, not too bad. Their best corner so far is AJ Terrell at a 78.2, and I've checked all the snaps. All of them got significant snaps. At linebacker, you've got Caden Ellis at a 79.7. And then at safety, this is the guy you've got a game plan around, Jesse Bates III, 94.5. I think he had 3 interceptions in that game, if I remember correctly, at least 2. I think it was 3. The 2 that stood out to me on the all-22, he was playing single high safety. And poor Bryce Young, man, he just stared him down and threw it right to Jesse Bates, both of those 2 interceptions that I seen. I think I heard somewhere, it might have been on the GM Shuffle, that Jesse Bates had in his contract, if he got 3 interceptions this year, he got an extra $250,000. He got that bonus the first week of the season. So he's a stud, man. That's definitely one to watch out for. So why do I say that? Because of that matchup at 34, what should we do? We should try to stay away from our 12 personnel. We should stay in 11 personnel, right? Why do you want to do that? Because you want to keep them out of that 34 front, okay? So let's go to their nickel set now. According to the nickel on PFF, they're suggesting that their 2 interior defensive linemen would be Calais Campbell at 56.4 and Grady Jarrett at 82.2. So they're suggesting that if you go to nickel, and now there's going to be a rotation, obviously, you're going to get Onyemata out of that lineup consistently, okay? So I think we should stay in 11 personnel, all right? And the one thing that sticks out to me as far as being able to attack this defense, the left side right here in their nickel, looks weak based off of their first 2 games. Obviously, a 51.2 at Bud Dupree on the edge. And then, of course, Calais Campbell having that down game there, 56.4. But also, that's the side the linebacker Anderson will be on, okay, at 53.7 in their sub package. And then you got Alford at their nickel back at 66.4. So immediately what I'm thinking is, and what I seen on the all-22, let me go ahead and get this off the screen here. What I seen on the all-22 was they played a lot of single high safety, okay, so, which means you've got just one-on-one on the outside. So if you're going to pass the ball, make sure you're passing the outside. If you're going to play 12 personnel, let's run outside zone. Stay away from the interior. Another thing, when you've got solid interior defensive line play like that, especially in the 34 base, you want to boot action. You want to get Jordan Love out of harm's way, right? You want to get him rolling out, whether it's right or left, get him out of the pocket a bit, and don't let him sit in there like a statue and get teed off on by Grady Jarrett and Onyemata. That's the big thing there. Now, another thing that stood out to me, every team's kind of got their go-to offensive formation, right? They've got an offensive approach. For us, typically it's 11 or 12 personnel. We like to play a lot of doubles, right? We like to play a lot of doubles. We'll play some double stack. We'll also play a little bunch out of 11 personnel. Those are kind of the 2 formations that we key in on the most, right? When it comes to the Falcons, they play pistol, okay? Some people may not know what that means. I'm going to explain it real quick, okay? This is what their pistol formation looks like. Let's start with and this is their base pistol, okay? They run a lot of 12 and 21 personnel. I'm going to explain to you why they ran 21 personnel. So this is a pistol formation, okay? Hopefully you guys, can you see this okay, Jacob?
Yep, I got it.
All right, cool. So what a pistol formation is, it's like a mini shotgun, okay? Notice the quarterback is in a shotgun look there, and the running back is directly behind the quarterback. Now, the reason that's important is because when you've got a sidecar right, then 9 times out of 10, if they run the ball, whether it's mid-zone or outside zone, guess where the running back's running? He's running left. If you've got a sidecar left, 9 times out of 10, he's running to the right side. With a pistol, you have to acknowledge, you have to respect the outside run on both sides of the ball, okay? Because it's such a balanced look. Now, the thing that I noticed them lining up in the most with their 12 personnel is they had, obviously, the tailback there, which was, who was the running back you said, Jacob, that got drafted last year, 1,000-yard rusher?
Algier.
Algier. Okay. Algier played tailback the majority of the time. Okay. You had your U tight end. They've got Hayden Hurst as well. You had a U kind of playing that wing look, and you had Y that was off, but still pretty much attached to the line of scrimmage, right? And they like to play, what do we call this right here, Tim? These close splits. That's nasty, right? Inside the numbers. They played a lot of nasty split. Okay. So they're kind of forcing everything inside, right? And what I noticed was they were using cutback lanes like a mother. I mean, they watching that running back as well as Bijan Robinson cut back. It was deadly. It was a deadly combination. Now let me explain to you what they did out of 21. Out of 21, the other thing too, their other tight end they got is Jonnu Smith. I don't think Jonnu is lights out at tight end, but he is kind of that H-back, so they can put him in the backfield as well. But when they ran 21 personnel, what I noticed was they had that running back in the backfield in the pistol set, and out here, this T was Bijan Robinson. So they flex. They're already utilizing Bijan Robinson in the fact that he is just as good a receiver as he is a running back. Okay, so they were flexing him out. As a matter of fact, he caught a touchdown pass, juked the guy completely out of his jock on one play. I mean, it was freaking nasty. Just hit him on a quick smoke screen, and he was in the end zone. Juked the guy, had that hat count 1-on-1. Disregard this corner here; it's out of place. He should be out here in the safety, kind of down here on the T, which is Bijan Robinson. But I wanted to point out when they go to that 21 personnel, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. There's your H, there's your T, or you can say T or H, however you want to couple it. Don't matter to me which one you want to stamp it with. Those are your 2 running backs, and there's your tight end. And again, coming out of that pistol look, it's a very, very balanced approach. You don't know which side they're going to run to. Okay, so the big things that stood out to me, right, was, like I said, the fact that they ran a lot of 21 and 12. They're going to utilize Bijan Robinson as a receiving threat. All right. Jesse Bates playing single high safety is arguably the best, if not a top 3 safety in the league right now. Why do I think that? Because his PFF grades were through the roof 2 years ago, and he got paid like a number 1 safety this offseason in free agency. That was the main piece they went and got in free agency this year, and it's already paid off. Obviously, he single-handedly won on the turnover differential. Now, I will say that the Carolina Panthers, they played like hot garbage. I mean, they played absolutely horrible, Tim. Bryce Young, he looked lost out there. He was staring Jesse Bates down the entire time and was throwing the ball right to him the entire game. I think Jordan Love is going to be way better, way more prepared than Bryce Young to face them. On the offensive side, back to the offensive side of the ball, the Falcons, Desmond Ridder, he had decent stats, but I'm telling you, man, he did not look like a good quarterback, right? And I'll just say this, like Desmond Ridder, my wife and some of the people that's in my inner circle, they know family of Desmond Ridder, right? So I'm probably going to get crucified for knocking him, but I'm telling you, he played like booty juice, in my opinion, man. Like this dude, it was bad. It was bad. He was 15 of 18 for 115 yards, but when you watch the tape, I don't think there was one pass where I was like, oh, that was an accurate pass. It was just one of those things that everything kind of fell in place for him. But as far as the PFF grade itself, I mean, when you look at it, let's go back real quick. I want to just get his PFF grade is a 52.1. I mean, he played like hot garbage. And the fact that he had that high of a completion percentage and a quarterback rating is very, very misleading when you look at the placement of the ball and the decisions he made. I mean, there was never at any point was I like, oh, man, you got to respect Desmond Ridder. Tim, it was more along the lines of kind of like Justin Fields. So I think the game plan needs to be load that freaking box, stop the run, and don't be afraid to test Desmond Ridder and make him throw it deep. Now, the other problem we got, though, is you've got to really, really, really watch for Pitts, Kyle Pitts, their tight end. He's going to flex outside, and he is a solid receiving target. I mean, he's basically a receiver. You guys can't see it here, but he's a 79.4 in that first game. You put that guy outside, 6'6", 246. He run blocks worse than Uncle Bill. I'm just telling you. But the dude can play receiver. There's no doubt about it. So if they catch you in that base set and flex him out, you can find yourself in trouble there a little bit. But Tim, based off all that, anything stick out to you? Any comments you got, man?
I think I like your point about from our offense's perspective to just try and avoid the inside, run the outside zone, maybe stay more in 11 personnel. I mean, those are all valid points, and I can't wait to see how this plays out as the week goes. We might get little hints as to what their approach might be. But I think you're right. I think we'll see similarities in the game plan to what we used in Chicago, while also taking into consideration that, yeah, the Falcons are definitely not the Bears. So it'll be a good game, man.
Got it. Jacob?
I mean, I kind of had to step out for a second there. So, but what I wanted to talk about real quick, and forgive me for if I'm changing the subject too drastically here, but I felt the need. We've only got about 10 minutes or so left. I don't think that we highlighted what the rookies did for this team. I just really don't think. When we look at Jaden Reed, 54 punt yard returns. I think that's number one in the NFL right now. I think that Jaden Reed is the number one punt returner in the NFL right now. Anders Carlson was 5 for 5 with a 52-yarder that could have been good from 70 yards out, right? We had Danny Wheeland. He had a 68-yard punt, his third longest in the NFL, right? We had Musgrave, who looked like a freaking freak, like Kyle Pitts, like we just talked about. Possibly going to be a guy that in my opinion, I still think that Musgrave will be one of the next tight ends that beats, who was it? It was Pitts, Shockey, and like Ditka, and one other one. I think Evan Ingram that surpassed 750 yards. I think he's going to do that. LVN and Brooks had their first sacks, and they were impressive sacks. And it's just like if you talk about a team that's coming into their own, I just think that we have all the hope in the world. And don't get me wrong. I mean, we're going into the Atlanta or on the road, obviously, and anything can happen. But if we are able to put this game together, come out with a win, guys, we can go on a run. We can go on a run. I don't know if you've looked at this, Clayton. Maybe we should have brought it up. If you look at the next like 6 or 7 quarterbacks we face, or all over teams, we got a shot to go on a run here, guys.
Yeah.
We got a real shot.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
You're telling me there's a chance.
No, that's a good point. And Murph, thank you for clearing that up. You're exactly right. It was Whitehead that had that bonus implemented. You're right. I think Jesse Bates ended up with 2 interceptions, if I remember correctly. But yeah, you're correct. That was Whitehead on the Jets that had that bonus. Now that you mentioned that, that's what Lombardi was talking about today. That blended together on me. So thank you for pointing that out, buddy. Also, Cheesehead Murph says Kyle Pitts, Quay, or Dre may have their hands full. Yeah, and the other thing too, Murph, is do you treat Kyle Pitts like a tight end, or do you treat him like a wide receiver, right? Do you put a nickel on him? I think I would trust Quay on him more than I would trust, Keyshawn Nixon. That's just me personally. You're going to have your hands full. Now, that's the beautiful thing about this Joe Barry defense, which, by the way, combing through Twitter, man, I could be overlooking it, Tim, but I don't see anybody showing Joe Barry love for that defensive game plan. It's like,
I didn't see it either, Clayton. Yeah. I didn't see it either.
Something goes wrong, boy, his name will get mentioned. I promise you. But I thought he called a hell of a game, man. Heck of a game. With that 99 contain out of the 34, and then running those ET stunts, ET stunt contains out of the nickel 245. I mean, it was a freaking clinic, absolute clinic. But yeah, Murph, I think you're right, man. If the tight ends are covering, they're going to have their hands full. But that's the beautiful thing about this defense. If we come with that quarters look, right, then we can kind of limit the damage there. We can almost play like a little bit of a bracket coverage on them. However, got to key in on that run, man. We got to key in on that run for sure. So it's going to come down. Joe Barry's got to make a decision. Do we play it safe, not let them hit the potential long ball, knowing it's a low probability with Desmond Ridder at quarterback, or do we just load the freaking box and try to stop the run? That's what it's going to come down to for sure. All right, let's see here. Tim, do you got anything else you want to add, buddy, before we wrap up? I'm going to try to fire through the chat here real quick too.
I just think, Cheesehead Murph had a good point. I mean, yeah, Quay and Dre might have their hands full. I'm with you, Clayton. I would lean more towards Quay to cover Pitts. But like, you alluded to, we know he ain't going to be blocking anybody. He's going to be there to catch passes more than likely. So there's a lot of different ways we can approach accounting for a guy like him. But I'm with you, man. Let's load the box. Let's stop the run and make Ridder beat us with his arm,
Tim, can I ask you real quick? Because me and you were both kind of on the same page last year. I was a Quay fan right away. And I know that you're like pretty much his number one fan. Can you express, we didn't really talk about it last week, the difference from what he ended last season as? A lot of people said he's a waste of a pick. He's the worst thing we've ever done. He's a first round bust. And now for him to have that interception, that run back, that touchdown, all of a sudden he looks like Barry Sanders out there doing spin moves, diving over the goal line. What does that do for, you think, his confidence? And we all know that Quay also went through a lot of stuff in the offseason about trying to keep his mental stuff under control, trying to keep his temper under control. If you remember, like we talked about, he didn't have there was a lot of chippiness in that game. He kept his nose clean. And what did he do? He came in and he arguably made one of the biggest plays of the game and did it like as a professional. What does that do for your confidence in Quay?
Oh, I mean, I'm at an all-time high with my confidence in him. And you summed it up right there. Professional. You know, he was a rookie last year, and, you know, it takes certain guys time to become professional. You know, yeah, you're a pro athlete the minute, you know, you sign the dotted line and you come to camp, you're a pro. But, you know, being a true professional, it's a craft and it takes time. So, and I think Quay is way ahead of schedule because early in the year 2 here, we're already seeing a lot of these positive changes. And, yeah, I agree. I mean, he went through some stuff in the off season. He went through some stuff that a lot of people probably didn't know about during last season. I know he had some personal things going on, and hey, that all affects all of us in varying degrees in different ways as human beings. You know, we tend to forget that these football players are human beings first before anything else. And so, you know, Quay took the time and did what he needed to do, and clearly he's got a very focused approach this year. He almost reminds me a little bit of Rashawn in his way that he kind of goes about walking on the field and doing his warm-ups and just everything. His whole approach to the game is a more professional look than it was last year. And yeah, of course, seeing him house the interception to seal the game in Chicago, I mean, I probably still am getting my voice back a little bit because I was screaming like a child when this happened. But man, I'm telling you, Quay could probably play tight end too if we needed to. So I mean, he looked pretty good running out there, and
he's sharp.
It was just so cool to see that because we talked about at camp when he was doing these drills. And like, you know, they would drop a pass, him or McDuffie would drop one of those passes, and then they'd drop and do push-ups right away without being told. And it's like, clearly this type of work and this self-accountability that all these guys have, it pays off because we just saw it in the game. You know, that was literally very similar. Like Clayton, you broke that one down too, where he kind of like, we got a bonus because Justin Fields doesn't know how to read a defense. So that helps. But Quay was just fundamentally sound and did exactly what he was supposed to do on that play. And that's why he came away with it. And then everything after that was just, you know, like I said, that's the icing on the cake to see him just switch fields and house it to the pylon. So, I mean, I'm really excited for Quay this year. And yeah, the green dot, that's incredible. So clearly he is a leader. He is a leader on this defense. And, you know, and so is Dre Campbell. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I feel great about linebacker in general.
I do too, man. I do too. The thought of Dre being the quote unquote number 2 linebacker fires me up. Just like that means that Quay might have taken that step. And wearing the green dot doesn't necessarily mean that. The only way you'll actually be able to get a definitive answer there if both are healthy and you go to a dime set, which backer's in there, right? And even then, some people would look at that backer as a sub. It doesn't necessarily mean he's the better linebacker. It just means situationally, right?
Yep.
But yeah, it's funny. You guys are talking about the Quay Walker pick 6. This was my experience with it. We go down and score, right? I think we went up 31. We scored 31 points, right? I go downstairs to get something to drink. I come back up and it's 38. And I was going, what the hell happened? And I literally had to rewind it back and go, oh, my God, Quay Walker got a pick 6. Look at this. So I immediately edited the clip, tweeted it out. You know, it looked like, I was watching it in real time. No, I missed that live. It was awesome to come back up and go, oh, cool, man. They gifted us 7 points. That's kind of neat. United Bates in the chat said, I'm worried about our secondary tackling. Rasul was a monster, but forward width on guys standing still, and even Jair missed several. It looked like they were afraid to step up and make contact. I said, and it was all in my notes, I could show you here the way I take notes during the game. I'm sure you guys can't see it, but if you could, you'll notice it's highlighted in green and red, right? Green being positive, red being negative. And it really pops out to you when you go back through your notes. You can go, okay, there's the negative. Wow, look at all the green. Okay, that was, you know, I I don't know. It's just something that works for me. But in the red all day long, I had Jair Alexander, right? And then lo and behold, the PFF grade comes out and it was like 70.1. Not horrible, but you expect Jair to play to a higher level. Rudy Ford was cheeks, man. I'm going to start calling him Cheeks Ford because it was bad. I mean, it was really bad. And you guys know I love me some Rudy Ford, man. Absolutely love that guy. But if you see it, you got to say it. And at some point, you got to stop being a fanboy. And it's me talking to me. He played horrible. Let's hope he can rebound, right? And Savage stepped up. Coach LaFleur acknowledged it. That's the other thing, too. If you guys go back, I'm going to play that locker room video again before we wrap up here because I just think it's really cool. I want you to look at Savage in the background standing on the locker, too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That won me over, you know. And you guys know I've been very critical of Savage because he played really well 3 years ago. And then the last couple of years he's been horrible. And to see him come out and kind of play well, that was a lot of fun. And just to see his reaction, how he's responding to the team, I'm kind of starting to get it now, like why they like him. You know, sometimes a guy's a locker room presence can play a big role in a team, you know. Granted, you got to do it on the field, but still, though, you know. Let's see here. The chat has kind of gotten away from me a little bit, but we got to wrap this thing up anyway.
Bring one up real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
We got our own Jake Shavink saying safety and center are the overreaction needs already. And I was just going to say that as we part out of this podcast here, if I'm being honest, I'm looking at Rudy Ford. I'm looking at Mr. Myers. And unfortunately, I just don't think A.J. Dillon is going to be on this team next year. And I don't know if that's a hot take, but this guy just doesn't seem like he understands what to do with the ball now. I don't get it.
It sucks, man. It sucks. I want him to rebound so bad, and I want him to get paid and stay in Green Bay. I love A.J. Dillon as a person, but everybody's noticing it too. It's not just, you know, me sitting here going, I don't know, he looks bad. Everybody I listen to, it was bad across the board. All the podcasters that I trust that watch film, it was horrible. They were just like, man, this guy looks like he has forgotten how to play football. And I don't say that trying to be overly critical, like, oh, I could do better. Believe me, you kidding me, man? I'd pull a butt cheek walking out of the tunnel. I'm just telling you, it sucks because I want him to be that face of the franchise along with Jordan Love because they're such good friends. And you know, when Aaron Jones does finally step away, you know, you kind of like the idea of A.J. Dillon and Jordan Love, but man, you got to perform on the field. And he caught a screen pass there once, and it looked like he was stuck in the mud, man. It was just like. It sucks so bad, dude. It does. It is. But yeah, Jake, I agree, man. Safety and center are the overreaction needs already. Yeah. And it's funny. Wasn't this where we were at last year going into the draft? They didn't address any of them. So I could see that being the case this year too, man. Let's see here. Let's see what Packer Up says. I didn't read it. Hopefully there's nothing inappropriate. I always get nervous with these, but I did see A.J. Dillon's name. Packer Up says the only way Dillon will still be here is if he turns it on when it gets cold and turns into the ground and pound brick crap house we need, man. He speaks my language. I think we're related, dude. I've heard that term used in my house growing up so many times. Yeah. Cold weather, maybe that's when he'll shine, right? Those boys don't like to drop those pads and pop when it gets cold, man. That stuff hurts a little bit more. And that's when you need an A.J. Dillon, right? You need that four-wheel drive when the snow's falling at Lambeau. Which I can't tell you how excited I am. Is it week 3 we go to Lambeau? Check your schedule there, Jacob. Isn't that right? The Saints?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited about getting that first game at Lambeau, man. It's just going to be beautiful up there for sure. Tim, you going to that game?
No, I won't be at the Saints game, at least not yet. I don't have tickets unless the ticket fairy blesses me or something. But I will be at the following week, the Lions game, Thursday Night Football.
Gotcha. Hey, I got a bead on some tickets later in the year. A listener emailed me and said they give us a deal on it. I need to find that email and get back to you on what game that is, but I'm probably not going to be able to make it up to Green Bay this year. So I'd rather one of you guys get them. But Mandy's saying the same thing, and she may surprise me, dude. She's mentioned it like 3 times. I'm like, Mandy, listen. I don't want it to affect the post game show. I want to keep the momentum of what we got going here. And then what she'll do to force me to do stuff is she'll give me a gift. Look what I got you. And I can't say no. And then we'll be in Green Bay for 7 days. We'll be totally fine with me, but I'm trying to fight it. I'm trying to do what's best for the podcast right now. But
if anybody ever wants tickets for any game, message me because I've got all my family lives there at pretty much every week. I've got at least I don't know, maybe 10 to 20 tickets that I know of people's that are trying to either pawn them off or sell them or whatever the case is. So let me know beforehand because I got a lot of friends and family up there. So
Look at Eric Sutherland. This dude's out of control tonight. He said, I think he's on the giggle bush tonight. He said, I'd trade Dylan Ford and Myers for Devon House and Jason Spriggs.
I love it. I love
That's a
it.
blast from the past right there. Let's see here. Yeah, here we
Yeah,
go.
and we tell Devon he's going right to safety, no corner.
No questions asked.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when Aaron Rodgers heals up, let's bring him back to play safety.
Oh my gosh.
Katie Real says, is Aaron Jones playing this week? I think he is. Based off everything I've heard, I don't think he's going to miss this week. Now, they may have him on a little bit of a pitch count, right? Which they always do. That's the other thing, too. A lot of people have been like kind of overly critical about them not using him as much and this and that. And, guys, he's 5'9", 200 pounds, right? Like, you got to be careful with overusing him. It's just a fact. I hate it. I would love to see him get 30 carries because I think he'd rush for 250 yards. But there is kind of a workload that comes into play there. I mean, you see, he only had 5 carries in the first half, right? If I remember correctly. And he still pulled a hammy. You know what I'm saying? But again, I can't get over that speed stat that you found, Jacob, that he was the second fastest player in the league.
did you see that?
Yeah, that is insane, dude.
Second
21.
to Tyreek Hill, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Come on, bro.
people don't think he's on that level. He's on that level. Aaron Jones is an elite athlete, yo.
Yeah, I'm manually editing his speed on Madden and not. It's happening. I'm giving the respect he deserves here. Deadfish in the chat says, Dylan is a cold weather back. Let's see him in December. Absolutely. Completely agree there. Let's go. Let's rattle them off real quick. Shaw in the chat said 13 wasn't perfect, but his release was looking great. Nick the Realtor, did you guys talk about Aaron? I missed the first part of the pod. We sure did, Nick. If you'll go back, buddy, it's like the first thing we talked about. It'd be real easy to find. As soon as we kicked off, we kind of gave our thoughts on it and all that good stuff. I don't want to bore everyone with going through it again, but if you go to the very first of the pod of the show here on YouTube, you'll be able to find it for sure, man. Let's see here. Pack her up. I feel like every year when it's hot, AJ struggles. It does seem like it takes a little bit of time to turn it on. And Nick, the Realtor, I've got 2 tickets. That's awesome, dude. I'm probably going to take my 11-year-old son. Otherwise, I'd offer my second one up, dude. No, that's the memories there, man. I can only imagine 11 years old going to Lambeau Field with pops. Man, it don't get any better than that.
Take your kid, trust me. I remember every single moment that I ever went to every single game with my dad and my grandpa, and they're the best memories I have.
Amen. I was 11 when I went to my first game, I believe, 11 or 12.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do it.
Eric Sutherland said Dylan 4-wheel drive, 1.5 average, more like a bicycle with 2 flat tires. Man, y'all going in hard on my boy.
Hold on. I got to say something now. Okay. Here. Now I didn't say anything. All right. AJ Dillon has had issues with what? Clayton, you touched on this a few minutes ago, keeping his pad level low. And when he gets his pad level low, he can be effective running the football. When he doesn't have his pad level low, it's kind of a nightmare. He not
only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
That's what happens when he doesn't keep that pad level low. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So, I mean, he's just too doggone big not to, you generate that power from those quads and that strong body that you have. It seems to me like it's just some of these mechanics related kind of things that, I don't know why that, because he seems to be doing it in practice. We've seen it in camp and in the preseason, we saw him working on this, but then it's like, it doesn't translate to the field during the game. And that's just a concern of mine. And I would agree too. He's definitely a cold weather back, but unfortunately, we got 17 games of football to play and a lot of them are in domes and a lot of them aren't necessarily going to be in the cold. So it'd be nice to get a little bit more out of him, but I'm not going to be as hard as some of these other guys are willing to be on him. But I don't know. You just want to root for the best for your guys. We want to see AJ play to his potential because we know what he can do. We've seen it. So we just want to see it consistently.
Definitely. Our Showers in the chat said, "What's the over under on Eddie Lacy's current weight?" Listen, Our Showers, there's going to be nobody shaming in here. Nobody shaming in here, buddy.
Take it easy.
I'll tell you what, I got to give you one of these. I'm sorry.
What the hell's going on out here?
Unbelievable, man. Get it together, Showers. Get it together, bub. You're playing that game. Let's see here. All right, we got a couple more super chats. We're going to wrap this thing up. We got United Bates says, "Random shout out to Reggie White and Leroy Butler. Birth of the Lambeau Leap. I'm from the Philly area and became a Pack fan because of Reggie. Great show, fellas." Hey, that is awesome that you followed Reggie to Green Bay. That's really cool. Reggie obviously went to the University of Tennessee. That's about it wasn't at the time I was living in Kentucky, but now where I'm living, I'm just about an hour and a half away from UT. And I know he still has an impact down here in the Knoxville area in Northeast Tennessee. Just an amazing man. And again, United Bates, man, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. You supporting the stream. We appreciate it, man, for sure. See, we got Josh Myers again. If we're and thank you for the super chat, Josh. He said,
not Josh Myers.
Josh Martin, sorry. Josh Myers entered the chat. He said, "I got something to say. Let me pay $5. Y'all talking
Lord.
Josh Myers, my bad, man.
He's like, y'all talking about me.
That's why we got co-hosts, boys. They got to clean this mess up for me. Josh Martin in the chat said, "If we're 6-1, 5-2 at the trade deadline, would you make a trade for Budda Baker? What do you think it would take to get him?" That's a great question. I think it all depends on whether Budda Baker and the Arizona Cardinals are playing to win this year or not. Right? Did they win Week 1? Am I thinking right? Did they pull that off, or did they end up losing that game? I can't remember. I shouldn't ask a question I don't know the answer to, but somebody look that up for me. Find out if the Cardinals won. Look at Jacob over, look like Michael Myers. Look at him, the light flickering on him. I love it. Anytime he goes to a website, it slows down like he's on America Online or something, dude. A little AOL action over there. You can hear the modem firing up.
Rocking AOL.
She said Murph got a good laugh out of me calling him Josh Myers for sure. Appreciate that, Murph. Thanks for laughing with me, not at me, right, bro? Brandy beat you to it. She said they lost.
They lost.
Brandy
beat them 20-16.
Yeah, so Budda Baker, how old is he? Do we know that? I'm just firing away questions. Now, y'all are working for me. Look at this.
Budda Baker, I want to say he's 24, 25.
Is he really? Okay. I think I would be okay with that. He's kind of the heart and soul of that Cardinals team. He's definitely their emotional leader. So I don't know if they'd be willing to part ways with him or not, but I think it's very interesting, interesting thought there for sure. Look at Jake Shavink in the chat. Do you know who else is a cold weather back? Braylon Allen. You guys, I swear. Unbelievable. But again, I want to thank United Base and Josh. Thank y'all for the super chat. But all right, y'all ready to wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I like Jake's comment. Let's address this running back issue in the draft next year, right?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, great list of safeties in the draft. No need to trade away top picks. Think about it too. With Budda Baker, he's going to cost top dollar. Probably he's probably going to be a top 10, salary cap hit safety position. If you build through the draft, going to be a lot cheaper approach, especially if you somehow can grab one in the second round. I know a lot of people weren't impressed with the Brian Branch interception there. I think he plays for Detroit, right? Am I thinking right? Brian Branch, didn't he get drafted by Detroit?
Correct.
He had that interception the other night on Pat Mahomes. I know it was a tip pass, but still, I'm sure Jake was thinking the same thing. When he picked it off, I went, I told you, boys, Brian Branch. I'm just saying. It was a stud. That was kind of the guy I was hoping we would draft there in the first round. Granted, I understand the hesitation simply because, you've got he's kind of that tweener, right? Some people look at him as a corner. Some people look at him as a safety. United Bates confirms he is 27 years old. I'm assuming that's what he was talking about. So Budda Baker being 27, you get 3 good years out of him, 2 years if you traded for him. But I think I'm on board with Jake though. I think,
yeah, not worth giving up a pick, right?
Yeah,
and these guys are going hard on me in the chat.
Yeah, Eric Sutherland said Jacob's still on the neighbor's Dollar Tree internet.
Go find you,
sure
Eric.
About that?
You
sure about that?
Nick, come on, Nick.
Well, is Nick getting in on it too?
Oh yeah, Nick's getting on me.
What did Nick say?
Oh, don't even bring it up.
Hold on, I like what Brandy said. Let's bring back Micah Hyde.
Yeah, I'm not bringing that up, Jacob. Yeah, Brandy said watching Micah Hyde play for another team is killing me. Yeah, that's one that got away. There's no doubt about it. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like when they let him go, I was going, "What are you doing?" But it's like 1 or 2 years later, I'm going, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, exactly.
It works, but yeah, it sucks, man, for sure. Yeah, Jake confirms Branch is excellent. I think he's just a football player, man. He's just one of those guys that he's going to be successful. He's going to have a successful year. But again, man, I did like our draft. I love Lucas Van Ness. I absolutely love Luke Musgrave. Luke Musgrave was catching some strays today, man, talking about, him and his ball tracking ability and everything. I seen that totally different. I didn't get in the middle of the argument, but also what's our guy, Fennel? What's his first name on Twitter? Ben Fennel does a great job breaking down tape. He was very impressed with Luke Musgrave. I'm telling you, watch. Luke Musgrave is going to have a good year, man. There's no doubt about it. He was basically saying he was one of the best tight ends in the league this week, right? Now, granted, they were playing against a Dookie defense, but what was you going to say, Jacob?
No, Luke Musgrave did have people, and myself included, I judged him because like I said, he looked like a giraffe, just newborn giraffe out there trying to get his legs under him. But the guy's just he's very fast, he's very physical. He just needs to learn how to be more flow. Just go with the flow, man. Learn how to catch the ball, stride, turn up field. He just got a little bit excited, I think, and on that on that play that Love almost underthrew him. I mean, look at what happened on that play. They fumbled the snap. It was a miracle that it even happened. People saying he should have scored. He should have been able to. He got us like freaking 30 yards, guys. Just chill. And he was fine. Okay, he caught the ball.
I've noticed that when that stuff happens, the people that I love doing this is just something I like doing. The people that are blaming Luke Musgrave, right? I immediately go to their Twitter and just comb back a few posts, and I'm like, yeah, this dude defends Jordan Love to the end, right? So that was a perfect pass by Jordan Love. Luke Musgrave did, it was everything against Luke Musgrave, and vice versa too. I wasn't as impressed with Jordan Love's performance as most, but when you look at the stat line, he protected the football. It's exactly what we talked about. It's what Coach LaFleur talked about, staying +2. And that's a hostile environment. Granted, it was a bad team, but the thing I liked about him was when you needed to play on third down, Tim, when you needed to play on third down, that's when he looked the most calm. The touchdown pass to Romeo Doubs, stepping up in the pocket, climbing the pocket, delivering that with a quick flick. I don't know if you guys seen on Chalk Talk how he kind of torqued his torso, looked just like Aaron Rodgers throwing that football, which was just phenomenal. So I don't think he had as good a game as some people would lead you to believe, but man, it's hard to argue with the results. I'm excited to see him grow on that. And I guess what I'm saying is when they go and watch the tape, and they probably already watched it, probably today or Monday, I guarantee you there's plenty to build off of, right? There's plenty to work on, plenty of stuff, as McCarthy used to say, clean up, right? But I'm happy with it, man. I think he's exactly what we need to lead this team right now for sure. So
cooler than a polar bear's toenails.
Nick,
that's what you want with a first-year starter, guys, right? Cool and calm, collected under pressure, not easily phased. Jordan Love does not strike me as the type of guy that, even on the off chance that he does have an imperfect pocket one of these days and takes a hit, I don't think it's going to phase him. You can look back at some of the all-time greats. I mean, even Brady, man, all you had to do was hit Brady a few times, man, and you could really get him flustered and frustrated. I don't think Jordan Love is cut from that cloth. I think he's got kind of that Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality, and then he's also very, very focused and very calm under duress, which I'm sure he got a lot of in those couple years, understudy to Aaron Rodgers, because that's Aaron Rodgers too, cool and calm under pressure. So J Love is going to do nothing but bring excitement for years to come for us, and it's exciting. And I love having Clayton's analysis to bring us all back down to earth too, because there are things that we need to clean up, and he's got to work on. And we as fans all need to be aware of that too. We tend to have the rose-colored glasses on a lot, and sometimes you got to see where there's things that can be improved. So I'm just excited to watch him grow and watch this young team grow, man.
Yeah. Definitely. United Bates in the chat said he was awkward, but catching it was really the only thing that mattered. The rest will come with reps. I completely agree. And then Eric Sutherland, no, it wasn't Eric Sutherland. There was someone else that said something. They made a comment about it. Yeah, right here. Doug Pointer in the chat said the guys screaming at 9 for dropping the first pass are giving 88 a hard time for catching it.
Yeah.
the separation, it was almost like that one play. He was so wide open and Jordan just kind of chucked it off the back foot, just threw it up there. They pretend like Luke Musgrave just stopped running for no reason. When you see your quarterback scrambling, what do? You stop and you run the scramble drill, come back, right? Yep. You find the ball. So the ball was already in the air right as he tried to find it, and it made things awkward. The thing that I was screaming, and don't judge me, but I'm just being honest, when the camera zoomed in on him and he kind of raised up and was like, I made that way harder than it needed to be. The first thing I thought was, shave your mustache, man. That thing looks creepy, bro. Like, mustache looks so creepy.
I think he was generally just shocked at how freaking wide open he was. And he had to just kind of take a minute, like, oh my God, there's nobody near me. Yeah, that looked a little awkward.
Definitely.
It looked like me trying to dance at a school dance with a girl or something, awkward.
Yeah, dude. Mandy swears up and down I can dance. I don't feel like I can dance. I when that music starts, bro, I disappear. She's always like, "Where did you go?" You know where I went. I went and hid in the damn parking lot. I don't want no part of that dance. Kidding me? I told you I'm 123% Caucasian. There is no rhythm whatsoever when it comes to me. Joe RX with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for supporting the stream. He said, "Y'all think more NFL teams will adopt the Packers quarterback blueprint?" Think about some of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, right? One that comes to mind is Pat Mahomes. They had Alex Smith. Alex Smith was an MVP candidate the year before, right? So the best time to draft a quarterback is when you don't need one. And the teams that don't want to accept or realize that constantly struggle and chase quarterbacks. That's what you see. I think it's definitely the Green Bay way. And a little history lesson before we wrap up here, because it's important. This whole thing kind of comes from the West Coast, the Bill Walsh school of thought, right? What did Bill Walsh do? I mean, think about how he approached the quarterback position, right? And all these people are all these coaches, your Matt LaFleur's, your Kyle Shanahan's, which we know Kyle has all kinds of say in the personnel out there in San Francisco, as far as drafting and signing and all that stuff. But, Bill Walsh, he got criticized because he traded for Steve Young when he had Joe Montana. Worked out, didn't it? Got him another ring as an organization, got him another Hall of Fame quarterback. And then, of course, that line of thinking comes to Green Bay. They had Don Mikowski, guys. It was a fan favorite. Some people considered him an MVP candidate, Magic Man, right? They went and traded a first round pick for a second round quarterback that was 30 pounds overweight, drinking cheap beer and eating crawfish in Mississippi, right? He comes up here and next thing you know, he's back-to-back MVPs and wins them a Super Bowl. And then, of course, Aaron Rodgers, same thing. So this whole Jordan Love approach, I'm not sitting here trying to pretend like he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. I hope he is. But that's definitely their approach, and that's kind of that West Coast, approach to building the quarterback room for sure. Kyle Shanahan, look at him right now, right? Comes from that same coaching tree. What did he do? They go in there and they got Jimmy G, right? They signed Jimmy G. What'd they do? They draft Trey Lance, okay? They had a good quarterback. Hell, they traded a second-round pick for Jimmy G, if I remember correctly, from New England. While they traded that second-round pick, they go and draft Trey Lance. And everybody likes to bash them for the missed pick on Trey Lance. What'd they do? They drafted Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, and he ends up being the guy. That's why you never stop looking. The best time to draft a quarterback at any spot in the draft is when you already have a quarterback, because they have a chance to sit back, learn, not be rushed in, and not have their confidence take a huge hit. So, yeah, Joe RX, I think it would be wise for more teams to do that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do kind of take that approach. That's the thing with Justin Fields that's really put the Bears in a bad spot. They had the number 1 overall pick, right? Now some people would say Bryce Young wasn't worth the number 1 overall pick. I personally think he is. And he played like cheeks last week, but I think he's going to be good. I do. He's going to take some lumps. That's a bad Carolina Panthers football team. It is. That's the other thing, too, that gives me hope about the Falcons game is when I watched Carolina, they played horrible. They played horrible. And the score, it was a lot closer than the score suggests because they scored again there in the fourth quarter and kind of put it away. But, again, you can't overlook any opponent. But, yeah, thank you so much for the super chat, Joe. We appreciate it, bub, for sure. All right, let's get this thing wrapped up. We're at the 123 mark. You got anything else, Jacob?
No, man. I'm good. Oh, I will say, though, if you guys are wanting more Packers content after this, it looks like that Mr. Ryan Schlipp, Jake Shavink, and JJ Leahy went live. If you guys want more Packers content, go check out their stream too.
Yeah, do go hop over there for sure. Look
Packernet
for
Derailed, I believe.
yeah, search Packernet Derailed.
Yeah.
And you can look for Ryan's. I can't remember what his YouTube channel is. I'm subscribed to it. I always get notifications. I'll see if I can find it real quick. I wish there was a way I could share it in here, but it's going to tell them what would happen to the stream. But yeah, go check them out for sure. And that also reminds me too. I want to put this up here real quick. If you're watching on YouTube and you're going, "Who are these knuckleheads?" I kind of like them. You can scan this QR code in the upper right, and that'll send you to Packernet Podcast. That's where you'll find this in podcast form, right? And then you can also find Ryan Slip's flagship Packernet podcast. Most of the time, he has a daily podcast. He also has Packernet After Dark. It's a call-in show where people can call in, leave voicemails, and kind of keeps his pulse on Packer fans and their opinions. And then, of course, you've got the Packernet Derailed, which is live right now on their YouTube channel. You've got Jake Shavink, who is in the chat tonight. Phenomenal. It's always draft season podcast. Really, the way I look at that podcast, it's a college football podcast by a Packer fan and kind of goes hand in hand with the Packers approach to building in the draft. It's really, really fun. I'm going to have Jake back on the show real soon too, so we can do a little college football breakdown. I personally like college ball, man, especially with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish doing so well right now, man. They're lighting it up with Sam Hartman. Of course, they should. He's 43 years old playing college quarterback. But anyway, scan that QR code. That'll send you to that. We're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody in the chat. You guys were absolutely awesome. Y'all brung the thunder tonight. I want to give a special shout out to all of the super chats: Josh Martin, United Bates, Mike Hebring, Godsmack, Ian, all you guys supporting the stream, Joe RX. We really, really appreciate it, but we don't take it lightly. And also shout out to all the YouTube members. I'm still in the process of trying to find iHeezy340. So if you hear this tonight, iHeezy, make sure you shoot me an email, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com, because you won the autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey. And like I said, we got to go through a 2 or 3 step process to confirm that it's actually you. We're not going to let anybody steal that. Now, if for some reason iHeezy340 doesn't come forward, I'm going to have to set a deadline, and we can either spin the wheel again. I think that'd probably be the best thing to do, or we can give it to the second place winner that won the autograph or won the Aaron Rodgers jersey patch. We could go that route too, Jacob. But again, I would much rather give it to iHeezy340. So when you see this, man, shoot me an email. All right. So we can get you your jersey there. We really appreciate it. And again, for all the YouTube members, you're going to be entered into the next drawing that'll come up here in a couple of weeks for the autographed John Kuhn jersey. Go ahead, Jacob. What was that?
No, I was going to say, I waited to see if Guy would, hit us back, because I thought, worst case scenario, we could maybe give the Aaron Rodgers game-worn jersey. I still have it. It's a piece of a game-worn belt, I believe, that he wore in 2011. So what's the guy's name? First place winner?
First place winner is iHeezy340. But
Easy. Hit us up. If not, otherwise I'm gonna send this out to, wasn't it John?
Yeah, John Baker. Yeah, John Baker's going iHeezy. I hope you don't say a word.
Maybe I'll just send it to John no matter what, and then we'll do it.
Absolutely. Tim, buddy, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for hanging out with us. So again, thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks for the super chats. And for those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
Tell the tackle, take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, you drive down the first man who is inside. Pull back and tell him to take the first man outside the offensive tackle. No one goes. Go right by them and field inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.